What's up, everybody? Back again out here at Pepaw's shop. Been working on these engines I got for the go-kart. Been on the struggle bus. Turn that headlight out, blinding y'all. Like I said, if you watched the other video before this one, I went and bought these two engines from a lady. And when I went over there, I took my compression tester and they both read low compression. Of course, neither one of them had been ran in a while. They'd both been sitting. So I assumed that they didn't have any compression because of ignorance. I didn't know that these engines have a decompression valve on the camshaft. I'll show you what that looks like. Here's the camshaft. That little mechanism right there is a decompression lever, and while the motor's not spinning very high RPMs, it lets the exhaust valve open and bleed off some compression. That way the motor's not so hard to crank. If it didn't do that, it'd be very hard to pull the rope, and it'd jerk it out of your hand and break the rope and be hard to pull. But I didn't know that. I was ignorant.
I'm not a smart man.
Ignorance is the lack of knowledge or information. Stupidity is unintelligence and lack of common sense, which I don't think I'm stupid. I'm just ignorant. I didn't know that those had a decompression lever, so I tore this whole engine down looking for why this thing might not have compression. I checked the rings, I checked the piston, checked the head gasket, I checked the valves. It all checked out good, and I'm sitting there scratching my head, why don't this engine have compression? So I called my buddy up that has a lot of experience with small engine. He told me, yeah, those got a decompression lever on the camshaft. It's not going to have much compression till it cranks. What happens when the engine starts to hit and spin at a faster RPM, that lever, the rotational pull, makes the lever jump out, and that shuts the exhaust valve and makes more compression. So I tore this whole engine down looking for why I don't have compression, but it wasn't in vain, because I had to come most of the way this far anyway, because I wanted to delete the governor and tap this hole, and I wanted to delete the low oil sensor that used to mount right here on these two holes, and the wire used to come through here, and I wanted to tap that hole. And got that done only because my cousin, who's a really good mechanic, helped me, because my ignorance showed again. I went and bought a thread tapping set from Harbor Freight and give $11 for it. And I spent over an hour, probably closer to 2 hours, trying to tap threads into a hole on this block. Finally give up after about 2 hours of trying to get one started. Never did get it started. Come over here on the box of the thread set, tapping set that I bought, and it says, ideal for repairing stripped threads and soft metals and plastics around the house. Not suitable for steel or automotive use. So, your boy spent the better part of 2 hours trying to tap threads into a block with taps that are not made for what I was doing. Again, read the directions, kids. Before you start on something, read the directions. But we made it past all that. Sitting out here getting my mate and surfaces clean. As soon as I get a new gasket set, I'm gonna go back together with this. This is the Honda GX390. Anyway, that's the basis of this video. But one thing I want to say is, when you make mistakes, that's when you grow the fastest. You can sit there and never attempt to try anything and never make mistakes, but you're never going to grow. When you're attempting and you fail, you grow. That's when you learn. That's when you make improvement to your knowledge and become unignorant. Sometimes you have to fail to grow the fastest. So that's the thought in this video is ignorance equals accelerated growth. When you're trying to do something, the main thing I'm trying to say is don't be scared to get out there and try something and fail, because that's the way that you get past it. That's how you learn the most valuable lessons, and the ones that'll stick with you is when you make that mistake. Will I ever make this mistake again? No, I'll never mistake a small engine for having low compression reading. What I am going to do is take a compression reading with the rocker arms off. That way the valves have to be shut, and then I'll know how much compression this engine actually has. And the valves are really tight on this engine. There was no valve lash. There was supposed to be 2 or 3 thousandths valve lash, and there was none, which tells me that there's a possibility that the rocker arm was opening the valves even when the cam lobes were not engaged. So could be another reason why this had low compression. I'm also going to do a test to test out that theory. Going to put it back together and set the valve lash to spec, and if it has more compression with the decomp lever working like it already was, then I'll know some of that loss of compression was due to the valves not being adjusted to spec. So do I kind of feel a little guilty about getting these motors for so cheap? Kinda, but it was a combination of my ignorance and the woman's that had them. She didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. We both had good intentions. You know, I know I was genuine when I made her the offer, and I wasn't trying to beat her out of money. I really thought this motor would have damage to either the ring seal or the piston or the head gasket or the valves, because that's about all the places you can lose compression. So it wasn't like I did all that trying to beat her out of a price that she wanted. I did it in good faith that I was doing the right thing. So what I'm trying to say is I'm not going to call her up and be like, hey, you want me to pay you some more for these engines? They may actually be good yet. No, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, I'll get back with y'all. We're going to probably make a video when we get this thing put together. So y'all have a good one. Be safe. Like the channel. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing a lot more fun stuff. Still want to do the beater drag race. You know, get a junky car and let's just see who can outrun each other. Lots of ideas. If y'all have any ideas y'all like to see, feel free to comment them down below. Catch y'all on the next one.